Another weird thing, I included the reference to the ray trace camera component that I made in here, but when I put this thing below here instead of above it, it kind of freaked out the compiler. Like even when let's see if I build here, will it work? Will it work this time? Maybe. Maybe it will. No, see, gets all these errors. All I did was move this include, and if I go back and do it again, build a solution, and then like if this succeeds, yeah. So there's like some C++ magic happening that Unreal does that kind of freaks out IntelliSense and like doesn't make sense from like just a regular C++ developer standpoint. So there's still just like a lot to take in, and my goal right now is to get maybe a more basic like first-person shooter demo. I don't know why I went with the first-person shooter thing. It just seems very natural for Unreal 4. Like I don't know why I associate it so closely, but just get some basic like people responding, like an enemy that will respond to me shooting it, and then maybe an enemy that can shoot back with some basic AI. If I can get that going, then we have the basis of like a basic video game, and then we can start to think about themes and all that kind of stuff. But right now, just kind of tooling around, figuring out what I'm doing. Yeah, that's just about it. Alright, we've got a little more progress now. Let's take a look at this. Hit play. So now you got these spheres kind of floating across the screen. If I shoot one, it kind of goes. But that's some progress. I'd worked on making this. So these are actors. These are not being done with an actor component. This is an actor. Now let me just take a look at that. This is the move ball actor. And what I've got here is a function that will set the velocity. I tried to set this all in begin play, but or the constructor. I also tried the constructor, but neither of those worked. So I have this boolean called setVel, and then I have a function called setVelocity. On tick, if setVel is false, it will call setVelocity, and if it can find a static mesh, which I'll show you what they mean by that, it will set the simulate physics to true, and it will set a linear velocity, 70, 0, 0, 70 in the x direction, which is towards me, the way I've got the camera positioned, and that's how you get those spheres moving across the screen. If I show you, click on one of these, let's pick this one, and hit this. This is a static mesh component. You can see here a sphere static mesh component. So it took me a while to make this work, because what I'm trying to do is, so Unreal doesn't have, what am I trying to think of? It has these things called blueprints instead of prefabs. Prefabs, what I'm trying to think of. So I made this into a prefab by going to this, well, before it didn't say edit blueprint, it said add as a blueprint. Let's see if I can do it here. If I delete this, force delete, right? So this is my original one. You saw those go away because those were my blueprints. So we go converts this actor to a reusable blueprint class that can have the script behavior. So before I was doing it like this, and I would hit this, then I'd go here, and I would say convert selected components into blueprint class. That didn't work. I don't know why that doesn't work, but it doesn't work. Maybe you have to do convert select actor to blueprint class, but doing this, which I just figured out, just hitting that button, going demo content, move ball, blueprint, and then create this blueprint. Got this thing, it's all compiled. Move this in here, and if it works like I did before, let's move these, hit play, and they're both moving across the screen just the same. So those blueprints are like prefabs, but blueprints are also that visual scripting thing that Unreal has. So the distinction, like there's blueprint scripting, and then there are blueprints, which are like these spheres. And I think the blueprints can be an actor that also contains multiple actor components. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. My goal here right now is to make something that will spawn these things from the edge. Yeah, they kind of stop there, so I'll just fucking make these go away. Have them kind of spawn from like this wall, and they could come at you at like varying speeds at varying places. Then you could shoot them, and if they hit you, you lose health, and if you shoot them, you get some points. That's a very simple something, but I consider that kind of a minimum viable, and then somehow fit that into the theme, like create some justification for why that is. Um, yeah, that's kind of so far my plan right now. I don't like how these projectiles kind of fall off. You see that? But I'm working on that. I think there's a way to make that happen. Because I did that before. I did that in a previous demo. I want to be able to hit those things and have them disappear, or like play a little animation, little particle effect or something to have them explode. Yeah, like I said, add, and there'll be either a timer or some sort of health bar, and then somehow fit that into east versus west. I don't know how that fits in to that or the dog thing. So yeah, once I get that volume spawning thing working, I will make another update. There's a tutorial on C++ scripting in Unreal that was called the battery collector demo that I actually went through that kind of does a similar thing already. So I'm going to do what I can with that. I already started looking at that a little bit. Let's see. Not engine. Demo. Source. Demo. Yeah, it's a bunch of things. It's ball spawner class. That's what it's supposed to do. It kind of does it in a very similar way. But whenever I run this and I have this in the scene, it crashes. So I don't know why that crashes, but it crashes. And that's the problem, is that in order to make it not crash, in order to debug Unreal, I need to close this this scene. Then you can go here, hit Windows, local Windows debugger, and then it loads the editor back up in debug mode, and I can hit breakpoints to do all that stuff. And if it crashes, it'll actually give me an error instead of just saying, hey, there's no. Basically, it crashes and says there was no tracing information, there was no debug information with this, with this, and so it gives me no information. So I could do that, figure out why it's crashing, and then maybe go back to it, and then figure out how I can make a random spawn position so it'll spawn kind of in some sort of space. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So I got that spawning thing to work. Certainly spawns objects now. I'm gonna shut this off before it crashes.